Welcome to The Gathering Greenhouse, a podcast to help us grow together. Welcome, everyone, and welcome to our live audience. Matt?
Where are they? The live studio audience. Matt, that's your cue.
That's your cue, Matt. Thank you. Appreciate it. We had a great podcast today.
What's funny is it's the greenhouse, and greenhouses are supposed to keep things warm.
Yeah, and you're wearing a...
But it's really cold in here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like super, super cold. It's way warmer than outside, but compared to the room next door, it's cold.
It's very chilly here. Okay, so I thought we would switch things up and do it a little, just slightly different today. Slightly different.
I don't like change.
It seems like we go from like fun and then we like hit the brakes and we go serious. I'm just trying to like maybe mix it up a little bit here.
So we're going to have some serious fun.
No breaks?
No, I
breaks?
wouldn't say that. That may be overselling what we're about to do today.
Oh boy.
No. So I looked up, I had this interesting article that I wanted to like discuss with you guys and get your thought on it. We just recently had a young adult game night. Great work on that. Yeah. I know you didn't get to see it, but I got to go by and say hi to some people. So this is kind of a this is something to do with millennials and Gen Z here. My
two favorite generations. After the boomers and the Xers.
Okay. So
and what are the people before the boomers called?
The greatest generation?
Yeah. That's the best generation.
Silent generation.
Well, they're titled the
we
greatest
call them
generation.
What's their generation? What are they?
But who called them the greatest generation?
The people who understood what they did.
But
people
was
who
it
beat
their
Hitler.
own generation?
No.
Was it after the fact? Like were they Generation A and then they were like, oh wait, we should
I
change
don't think the new generation titles. I think those are more of a modern kind of thing. So
it's after
because
I feel
everybody
like it was
has
after
to
the
put
fact.
everybody in a box.
I need an identity
Right?
because I don't have one in Christ.
So I think the greatest generation, you'd have to go back and look, but there was a book it was either Tom Brokaw or Dan Rather, one of those guys, who wrote a book about that generation called The Greatest Generation.
So it was after the fact.
It's after the fact.
Yeah. Okay.
But they deserve it.
Hence
They saved the world.
Built the West, and
They did good.
we're not in an argument for
Haven't seen a generation
who,
like
who
that
the greatest
since.
generation is.
Although Gen X comes close.
We're not in an argument over that. Just not good or bad,
Steve,
just different.
are we off the...
We're off.
Okay.
So here, would you rather have the question first, or do you want to hear what I'm talking about first?
that one.
That is a question.
Yeah, this is a question, but not the question.
What would
What's
you
the
like
question?
to do?
I would like to hear your opinion. Would you rather have the question first?
I don't have an opinion
Okay.
yet.
All right. We'll start with telling you what it's about, and then I'll ask you the question if you agree. Okay. So what they found here is that millennials and Gen Zs are big fans of subtitles. Do you understand?
Oh, yeah.
So like when you watch a TV show or you watch a movie, that they turn on the subtitles
In addition to listening.
listening to it.
Yeah. Okay.
So this mom named Kelly Gibson, she was surprised that her younger daughters were watching TV with the subtitles on. And I think that, I'm not sure if you guys have experienced this too, but like, so the older generation, maybe Gen X, sees it too similar to as like what their grandparents would be doing, turning on the subtitles because they can't hear. And what
Most of Gen X watches with subtitles now.
I think most people would do that now.
Yeah.
not according.
But it's for us, it's because we can't hear.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. I mean, I can get that, but I think that it's a generational thing.
All right. Well,
according to this.
Where's this going?
So the question is here, do you personally watch subtitles? What do you think? Do you?
Well, yes, I do, but that's because we mostly watch British television.
And because of British television is
And they
harder
have
to understand.
horrible English.
They have accents, right?
Yeah.
But also I am older, so sounds kind of mushed together a little bit more than they used to. So it's just easier to have the subtitles, especially like we watch like the Scottish shows and the Welsh shows, And they've got some really thick, like
Yeah.
you get up into the high Scottish
Okay.
places like Shetland, really thick accents. Like the Welsh people, they've got their own language.
It's
And their language is really cool and unique
Do
because
the subtitles help with that language?
at least you
their
kind of know.
language is really cool and unique
Yeah.
because there aren't other languages like it. Like
Okay.
it's not English is made up of a mix of kind of the Romantic languages and the Germanic languages.
Yeah.
But like Welsh and Gaelic and Celtic and that stuff, it's just there's nothing like it. So they just speak really weird. And now that you have generations that have been mixing, it's an amalgamation of fun English. It's hard to understand. So that's why we watch subtitles.
So it helps then if you're with that particular dialect of
Well,
English. It helps a lot.
Well, yeah.
Okay. I'm just making. I mean, I was trying to sum up what you were saying.
I like subtitles because like all these shows now they whisper talk all the time. And like they're always like really intense, and I'm like it just sounds like mush.
You're,
so you
you're-
need.
I'm
need some
just saying
definition.
here. Desire for consistent sound was one of the reasons that your generation.
My generation.
Everything's dramatic. Was that?
It's desire for also ADHD. I don't know if you have ADHD or not.
Oh, were you talking to me?
Yeah, there you go. People with ADHD or audio processing issues, both of those like that preferred it as well. It's like an actual reason.
I think
other than they just
another
prefer it.
thing that has happened is like, so if you used to want subtitles, if you're just watching TV, you could turn on closed captioning,
Yeah.
and it was always behind. It didn't add. It was like only if I needed this am I going to turn it on. But subtitles have actually gotten really good, right? Like they're not closed captioning; they are embedded into the video, and so it's a way better experience than it used to be. And I think that's probably part of why it's gained popularity. The other piece of it is I think people have gotten used to subtitles. I saw a stat that something like 60% of like video content is actually consumed with no audio. And so people are watching subtitles on like social media and stuff more. So they're just used to it.
John, you should have wrote this article because literally all the stuff that you're saying is in it. Like
I don't have
because
the attention span.
yeah, that's the thing. Is it like if you watch like
Maybe the article is just about stuff everybody knows.
Yeah.
It's like somebody wrote an article. Cars use 4 wheels and steering wheels.
Guys, did you know about gravity?
Hey, it's an interesting observation. It's an opinion piece, David. It's not a book from a scholarly science. It's just something fun to talk about. It's something interesting. I thought it was kind of cool. Just comparing difference between generations and
This is fun for sure.
I mean, great. Well, I appreciate you.
So if you don't have the
supporting me here,
subtitles
David.
turned on, go ahead and turn those on right now.
Well, so I mean, on the reels too. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's all about the subtitles.
Yeah,
and
people
everything.
don't listen. They read, and it's weird because like, how are you watching and reading? I don't know. It's like you're literally having to go da-da-da-da-da
Yeah.
to. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's weird. It's weird. Just
All
read a
right.
book.
Well, let's move on here since we're going to be efficient today. So got some questions for you, David. So when you gave your sermon on Sunday,
Yeah.
you talked about Acts chapter 2.
I did.
Okay.
Yep.
So what, like when you were reading it, it sounds a little like communism or socialism, right? But once again, I mean, there are good parts of, it's
I
not
think,
communism and socialism isn't evil in itself. Aren't evil in itself.
Comrade
It's the
Steve
way
has a
it's
good
applied.
point.
But
Comrade Steve has a very good point.
I cannot. I need closed
needs the
captions. I need
subtitles.
subtitles for John right now.
He said,
ADHD
Comrade Steve.
Oh, Comrade,
has
okay.
a good point.
Gotcha.
Da.
So was the early church socialist?
So I want to stop right here because
Yeah.
I want to say something that probably get this whole episode canceled from YouTube.
gosh.
Right? Like when you go down the road of communism isn't so bad.
it's not.
That's like a cousin to Hitler had some good ideas. I mean,
disagree.
What?
I disagree.
So under
I don't disagree that Hitler had some good point. I don't disagree with that.
Wait, you do agree with that?
No, I do. I
What is
don't.
happening? What is
I don't-
happening?
I'm saying my comment wasn't based on the Hitler thing. Is what I'm saying.
Well,
Does that
no,
make
I
sense?
know.
You
Well,
need closed caption?
No, I know.
Subtitles
But
here?
here's the thing.
Invented by Hitler. I'm just kidding.
Okay. You're derailing us way down the road, David.
How many times can you say Hitler on a YouTube video before
It
they're
gets
like,
canceled.
You can't say Hitler on YouTube.
You brought it up. I'm just saying here. Okay.
Yeah. So
I
we
think
probably
it's 7.
should. Is it 7?
I think
so
we're at 6.
We probably should not say
Okay.
Hitler anymore.
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's the thing, though. I mean, under communism, more people were killed than were killed under the Nazis in Germany.
Yeah.
Under, Stalin and Lenin and
Mao.
Well, I'm just
Mussolini.
thinking communist Russia, but yeah, you go over to Mao and you have even more.
It was bad in Italy.
Mussolini's not a communist.
Was he? What was he?
He was
dictator?
actually a real fascist.
A fascist.
Like
Okay.
not the kind of fascist we talk about today, because everybody's a fascist today. Like if I don't like you, you're a
The
fascist.
definition of fascism is you disagree with me, right?
Yeah. All right, we're far afoot now.
Yes, we are.
We're not being efficient.
Okay.
All right. So, anyways, the question was.
The question was, or is here, is was the early church socialist?
Or communist. Yeah.
No, just
Okay.
was it socialist?
Yeah. Well, we'll add communist in
Okay.
because I think that's helpful.
Just because it sounds a little like communism or socialism.
Right, so
Because they
there's-
shared everything.
Right, and there's a phrase in the passage that says they shared everything and some sold their stuff, and then
Yeah.
the key phrase there is to each according to his need, right?
Yeah.
And that sounds a lot like one of the really core principles of socialism and communism. And so, socialism and communism are kissing cousins. They're both from the Marxist tree, right? They're not the same thing. So when you say socialism, you're not necessarily everything about socialism is not communism. Everything about communism is not socialism, but they're both from the Marxist tree. So, that all runs back to Karl Marx's work, The Communist Manifesto. That's if you really want to understand where socialism comes from, that's where it is. And so in that, so Marx, when he was setting up his ideas and theories, one of his core principles was from each according to their ability, to each according to their need. So people latch onto that second half and say, look, that's biblical, right? Because in the church in Acts, that's what it looks like is happening, is from each according to their ability, those who had property were selling it, to each according to their need.
Yeah.
That sounds an awful lot like socialism, communism, Marxism, right? So the question is it? Was the early church Marxist? Well, no,
Yeah.
because they preceded Marxism, right? So just to be clear, the early church was neither communist nor socialist nor capitalist. God is neither communist nor socialist nor capitalist. God precedes all of those. Those are all just systems of economics that have been thought up in a fallen world. And so all systems of economics that are put together by sinners have some potentially good ideas and some potentially bad ideas, right?
Right.
Now, the problem with the early church in saying that they're socialist or communist is that what they did of their own accord, right? And that's really critical because what they were doing was an act of sacrifice and generosity because no one was compelling them to do that. Socialism and communism, but socialism for sure, are the government compelling you to give what is yours to them so they can give it to someone else. So they kind of insert themselves as the middleman, right? So it becomes very different. Those who have should be generous with what they have.
Right.
Those who have should be sacrificial what they have, and they should use what they have for those who don't. But that should be their choice. You cannot have generosity without possession.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the root, core values of Marxism is nobody has anything. Everything is held in common. But you can't be generous if you don't own something. You can only be generous with what you own. So that's really the big difference. In the early church, it was a choice. Marxist systems like socialism and communism, it's compelled.
Yeah. So can you say the philosophy is good either way?
Wait, which philosophy?
What philosophy?
Well, the philosophy of giving and
yes,
sharing.
that's good.
Yeah.
The philosophy of Acts 2 is good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I think there's this temptation to conflate Christian charity with something like socialism and Marxism because you say, oh, it's about others, right? But like you said, you can't be generous unless you have something to be generous with. You can't be generous if you don't have a choice, right?
Right.
Generosity is a decision to use what you have for others. And so I sometimes struggle with some of these ideologies and economic systems that seem to suggest, oh, we're doing this, we're going to take your money so we can help others, because you're actually robbing a lot of people of the opportunity to actually be generous. Yeah. And I think generosity, there's a huge heart element that is just missed by socialism.
So how do you, so let's say, if we leave it up to everyone's choice to do it, I mean, we have taxes and other things in our own country that go to help support people who are in need. How do you balance the two between saying, hey, we want people to be generous, but we also realize there's a lot of needs out there that just aren't getting taken care of?
Well, but I'm not sure. Are you asking, like, should we? Yes, the answer is yes. There's a lot of needs. People should be taking care of them. People should be generous.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that the government can't do some things. Yeah. Right. If we all agree to that.
Right.
Right. If I agree that, hey, I understand my taxes are going to this and I'm good with that, so I'm going to pay my taxes to that. That's me agreeing to do that. Right.
Right.
I'm not being compelled to do it. You have to go deeper though, because this is one of those cases where the words sound similar, but the philosophies are they couldn't be more different. Mm. So the core philosophy in Marxism is class warfare. It's really rooted in the 10th commandment, which is covetousness. Mm-hmm. It's saying, there are haves and there are have-nots, and the Communist Manifesto is a call to the have-nots to forcefully take from the haves and forcefully create equality. And then, say, and once you've done that, then you can create, equity and equality for everybody. And of course, never in the course of human history has it actually worked out that way, because that's not how human nature works. But the reality is that whenever I can put two people at odds, like I can say, hey, Steve, John has more than you. What am I appealing to?
You're appealing to the need for either us to be on an equal footing of some kind, or my own like covetousness towards.
Right, because I'm not
John.
Appealing to John, am I? I'm appealing to you, and what I'm saying to you is,
there's this sense of, hey, everything needs to be fair and equal, and I don't buy into that. That it's okay that some people have more, and it's okay that some people have less.
Fair and equal are not actual things.
Yeah, right.
The reality is, we as people, we say things like life should be fair, but we only ever say that looking up. We never say that looking at the people who have less than us.
I think being content is the secret to it, of like, hey, I may have less, and that's okay. Do I have everything that I need? Yeah, I do.
And the other side of that contentment is to go, I may have less than that person, but I have way more than that other person. And Christ is telling me to use what I have to benefit others. I should look at the people who are struggling worse than I am and care for them.
I mean, I agree with you, but I personally don't love going down that road, because you can always look at someone who is worse off than you. Like, I've been on lots of trips to Haiti and stuff. And you go back home and you feel like, oh man, at least I'm not in that position. And that's, to me, is not contentment. That is saying, well, at least I got it better than that person. It's contentment is being content in your own situation, what God has given you. And I think that being content in all situations isn't necessarily based on my surroundings and my outcomes. I mean, like it's partly a mindset too, of just being okay with it.
There is no comparison in contentment. Contentment has nothing to do with what anybody else has. But and the point that you made is the precise point for this conversation, because Marxism, socialism, and communism are all about comparison.
Yeah.
Right? And comparison is antithetical to what God wants us to be and do. There should never be a sense of they have more and I have less, so I need to take what they have.
Well, we know in Acts chapter 2, comparison happened not too long off.
Well, there's a difference between comparing yourself to someone and recognizing someone's needs.
Right.
Right? Like if I can recognize someone's needs, and it has nothing to do with, me comparing them to me. It's me saying, oh, check it out. They've got needs, and God has given me resources. I'm going to use my resources to meet those needs. That's the Christian ethic.
Yeah.
Is to say, I'm not comparing myself to others to say, what do I have? What do I not have? The reality is there are a lot of Christians out there who generously give to people who have more than them. That happens all the time, where people give to people who have more than them simply because they're generous and they see a need. That person has a need, and maybe that person could meet the need themselves, but they generously give so they don't have to. And that's Christianity.
Yeah.
Is sacrificially giving.
Okay. A follow-up question to this. So do you think that the Acts chapter 2, the way that they structured things where they gave each other, was that more based on the time and place and events that happened, or is it a eternal truth for the church and church communities?
I think generosity and caring for one another.
Yeah. So the core of it.
Those are certainly eternal truths. Now, were there contextual issues at play? Absolutely, because probably for some of these people, putting their faith in Christ radically changed their lives, and that maybe they lost their position, maybe they lost their employment, maybe they lost resources, and I think in a lot of ways it was just simply them saying, hey, we're going to make sure this is okay. But you go just a few years later, there's a famine in Jerusalem, and the churches then around the world take up a collection to send to Jerusalem. So that church who's in need, they're responding to that. So I think there is that timeless principle of sacrificial generosity, trying to meet needs, and especially trying to meet needs within the house of the Lord. We'll actually talk about that this coming Sunday, what that looks like.
Okay. Fair enough. So I'm going to change paces again on you here.
Okay. It's like Whiplash.
No, this is
Great
my
movie.
slow. I brought in a little snack because I know how much you guys like snacks, but this one, I wasn't sure. It's a chicken and waffles snack right here. And
this is going to go well, I'm sure.
Dave's going to taste
that
the potato
sounded
chip.
sarcastic. So
it's going to be like every time we try something that's bacon flavored, and it's terrible.
Yes, that's what I was thinking too. But the flavor sounded interesting to me. A chicken and waffles.
Why can't we just have potato chips?
You mean here or just in general?
No, just like in this world.
Oh.
Why can't we? Why do we have to try to
make some?
Because some of us can actually taste more than just potato.
Well, that's fine. But look, if you want chicken and waffles, then have chicken and waffles.
Hey, if you like chicken and waffles, hey, you might like chicken and waffle protein chips.
These are protein chips?
Yes.
No.
These are not going to be good.
No.
This is not a snack. This is like we want to brand it and make you not feel guilty for wanting chicken and waffles.
They look terrible.
They do not. They look terrible.
They look like...
Matt, would you like to try one?
Oh, my gosh.
Sure.
These are not going to be good.
What even is a protein chip?
So
They probably put crickets in it.
it just means it has protein involved. In it.
These are chips crafted from real ingredients, including
What's a fake ingredient?
chicken breast,
Aspartame, I don't know.
egg whites,
That's real.
chicken bone broth.
Real in a laboratory.
Syrup. It's very weird.
Well, there you go.
All right, so here's your
Can we get this over
ingredients, right? And the ingredients always. This is funny. So
Real
on the front it says created from real ingredients such as, and egg whites is listed here. On the back, the amount of egg whites in these chips is so low that it doesn't make it into the ingredient list.
Gosh.
But they have to add at the end. Also contains egg whites. That's probably for the allergy people. Yeah, this is
That's where the chicken comes from. I feel like that's a stretch.
number
I
two.
feel that's a stretch.
The number 2 ingredient is native tapioca starch.
Yummy.
Yeah, this. Yeah, good luck with that, man.
Okay. Actually, the flavor's really good. I'm definitely getting chickens and waffle at the beginning. Now
I
that,
like that.
but the aftertaste, like fake bacon.
This is terrible.
It's like a
Actually,
really
it's not
bad
bad.
graham
It's
cracker.
like you get a quick hit of syrup,
that
and then it
aftertaste
goes
is horrible.
terrible. Yeah.
I I don't mind it.
This is
I don't
like
mind
the
it.
Dallas
Matt and I did-
Cowboys.
Can I see that bag?
I actually got like almost like a bacony flavor at the end, maybe from like the salt and
I got like a chicken bacon.
they're not bad.
taste.
They're not
Chicken
bad.
bone broth.
Don't listen. These are
Good crunch.
these are like the people telling you the Dallas Cowboys are going to be good in the
Okay,
playoffs.
good crunch.
That is
It's
never true.
tastes
though.
good at first, but the aftertaste is awful.
No
I don't mind the
crickets. We're good.
aftertaste.
No crickets.
Crunchy.
Matt, you want the bag?
Heck yeah.
I feel like it definitely. I was getting the waffle and syrup.
The first bite was okay.
the
and
weird-
then or the first taste was okay, like tolerable, and then it immediately just went to negative 10.
I didn't mind it.
It
but
went
I
from
could,
syrup to shredded paper.
I could totally see why you wouldn't like it, but I don't
the
mind.
texture,
I don't mind
the texture
that.
was bad.
The texture's not great. I would definitely see. Matt likes them too.
If you made a plain protein chip, that's what I imagine. Like the back half of that is what I imagine a plain protein chip would taste like.
See, I don't mind. I don't mind the protein.
Go back to my argument. Why can't we just have potato chips? Why?
Matt's
I don't
loving
like
them over
potato
there.
chips
He's not
by
going to eat
themselves.
breakfast.
like I don't. We can have different
I thought they
kinds.
were
Like
really
you
good.
can have Lay's and Ruffles. That's fine. Even like nacho cheese Doritos. That's great. But
Well, see if you're bringing in Doritos, then I'm in for that. I don't think we need these to exist, but Doritos need to exist.
I agree.
What should have happened is when they came up with nacho cheese Doritos, somebody should have said, "That's it. We're done.
We're done.
It's not going to get better than this."
But it did. They came out with spicy nacho Doritos.
That wasn't
and
better.
They're so much better.
Cool Ranch is
They're
better.
good. They're good. I don't.
And there's
I don't
the sweet
disagree
chili,
with
which
you
is pretty good.
Yeah.
I love Doritos. Can we do a Doritos podcast?
I don't even know what to say to someone who thinks that Cool Ranch Doritos are better than nacho cheese
Once again,
Doritos.
difference between Gen X.
No.
and-
Difference between can only taste certain flavors.
Well, that's true,
And
too.
can taste every flavor.
True.
I need some help in the comments here. I mean, I think
The subtitle,
85% of people prefer nacho cheese to Cool Ranch, and the other 15
So,
are probably psychopathic
But
serial
we
People
killers.
actually-
who love Cool Ranch are
we
very
actually
passionate
did.
about
We
it.
actually did a poll recently.
We did do a
in a group chat, and there
all,
were
all
like who,
video
all you
gamers.
guys?
No, all video gamers.
It was all like
I knew you were gonna. I needed to give you that.
it wasn't video gamers.
It was,
Not everyone there, I think, counted as one.
As soon as you say
Well, it
in a
was
chat, we're doing it in our little
was
chat.
in a group
It
chat.
was based around all of us getting together to play video games.
Yeah.
And
But-
what was
in
your
that
poll?
context.
And what was your
We
poll?
just we were talking. All of a sudden came up
Cool Ranch
the
was
best
number one.
Doritos, and it was like a lot of people were saying they like Cool Ranch, and then the sweet chili, and then what was the third one that came up a lot? Nacho Verde.
Nacho
Is that the,
Verde.
the green one.
Have you had the Nacho Verde?
No. Like
Okay.
I said, nacho cheese.
So nacho
This
cheese is
is-
actually the least suggested.
This is contentment. Contentment is being able to say, "Hey, what I have is enough."
But,
I'm
but
saying
if,
this
if
is-
the person who invented the nachos had that attitude,
Contentment is,
you
is
wouldn't
saying,
have
oh,
those
I'm
attitudes.
also okay with you having a different opinion on.
I'm also okay
No,
with
I'm
trying
okay
to make
with
something
you having
better.
a different opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, right? That's one of the beautiful things about America is everyone has the right to be wrong.
Not anymore.
Fascist.
Okay,
Let's burn them books.
that's enough of a break for you guys for your ranting on different things. Bringing it around back to the next question here. Was there anything from Sunday's message that you didn't have a chance to say?
Yeah, we can't do this anymore.
Why not?
It's just too herky jerky.
Okay.
Like,
Hey,
we're talking
you never,
about the sermon.
You never know till you try something.
We're
new.
talking about the sermon, and then we're talking about chips. Now I've got nacho cheese on the mind.
That's okay.
And I gotta try to think
it's,
back to the
it's,
sermon
It's
now.
distracting for me when you all just try to throw me off the whole entire time. So all
right.
nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yeah. Well, we certainly didn't gain anything with these.
Oh yes, we did.
All right. So yeah. So the sermon. So this was interesting, and this is one of those things that just ends up on the cutting room floor. That it's good stuff, but not everything makes it into every sermon. At the end of the Acts 42 to 47 passage, so I think it's in verse 46. It talks about how the early Christians were meeting in the temple courts and in each other's houses daily.
Yeah.
And so you've got these two things that are happening. One is they're meeting in the temple. One is they're meeting in homes. And it's really interesting to kind of then think through what that means, like what's happening in each place. So you have a big group gathering, which is presumably where they're devoting themselves to the apostles' teaching, right? So presumably they're going to the temple, like that's verse 42, and the apostles are teaching this big group. And then you have a small group time where this is presumably where they're devoted to the koinonia or the fellowship, where they're sharing their lives, they're praying together, they're sharing meals, all that stuff that the passage says happens. So big group and small group. It's also interesting that they found it necessary to at least meet together twice a week, but it says every day. So we don't know if that's every person every day or if there were just daily meetings going on.
Probably just daily meetings.
But probably what it means is that most of the Christians understood I need to get together with other Christians more than once a week. But also there's this cool thing that's kind of a side effect is that when they're meeting in the temple, that's probably an evangelistic type meeting. It's a gospel-oriented meeting because there are probably outsiders looking on. The temple's an open area, and so they're proclaiming the gospel to one another in a way that outsiders can hear so that they can convert and follow Jesus. But when they're meeting in the homes, that's not what's happening there, right? The homes become this place where they're digging into life and really discipling and growing one another. So, again, this is not a prescription for us. It's a description of what was happening, but there's a pattern here that's worth paying attention to, which is I need to put myself in a place where I can receive public teaching of the word, where I can hear the gospel, but also that it should be done in an evangelistic way so that an outsider can hear it and understand it. But I also need to put myself in a context where I'm around fewer people, in a small group setting where we're sharing our lives, like praying together, and that's really where my spiritual growth is going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mature spiritually if I don't place myself in those two contexts.
Yeah. That's a great observation from there, and one that I see why you would like a chance to be able to say that, but it may not necessarily fit in to the time limit you might have on Sunday. It's a great point, and one so I'm heavily involved in groups, so I'm all on board with that statement there of it can't be all just about the small group. It can't just be all about the corporate group. You have to have a time and place for both because you need a place and a space for people that maybe can more comfortably come to a place to hear the gospel, to learn about it, to move forward. And then you need that place where you can get deeper with other Christians who are on the same path, the same direction with you.
Yep. Agreed.
Great.
Good.
Okay, so
there's some more bad chips now.
No.
Oh, okay.
Do you have any good chips now?
My two things. Now, if you want some, we can go get some. We can get some next week.
Get some Cool Ranch.
Pringles, another just like straight potato chip, right?
I don't know. I feel like
It's potato puree.
That's what I mean. I don't know what it is about the aftertaste of Pringles. I just don't like. I do realize the irony of the chip I just ate.
You know how you saw the aftertaste of a Pringle?
Just keep eating them.
Just keep eating
them.
them.
Right.
Exactly. You get that salt. The salt covers all that up.
I have a problem.
So we have a all church meeting on the 21st of this month.
Yeah.
Coming up soon. What's going to happen? What are we going to be doing?
We're going to be talking about the church.
Okay.
So it'll be just that's our we do this usually at the beginning of every year. It's a chance for us to look back at the previous year and celebrate the good stuff that's happened. Talk through and then look ahead to what's coming. Where we kind of talk about what are some of the challenges that we anticipate we'll face, and what are some of the really cool things that are coming. What are new things or changes? What are we going to keep doing? So it's just a fun time to do that, talk about all that stuff. 2023 is a great year, so there's just a lot for us to look back on and celebrate and say this was a really good year at the gathering, and I'm excited about what 2024 holds. There's a lot of really great opportunities for us. But I think everyone's aware there are certainly some significant challenges, right?
Yeah.
That some of the really cool things that happened in 23 lead to some challenges in 24. So we'll talk through a little bit about what that's going to look like. It'll be a good time.
Yeah. And what, can you give us a little hint on what some of those challenges were in 2023 that we're going to be looking at into 2024?
Well, the challenges in 2024 are space.
Yeah. Space. Okay.
Space.
So
not like outer space.
We're coming for you, Elon.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, we're gonna send people to the moon.
That's where we're gonna create a space colony on the moon. The Gathering Satellite Campus.
Right.
Get that
Satellite campus.
Literal interpretation of satellite campus.
Campus is in space. That's amazing.
All right, are you done?
I am now.
Okay. All right, well, thanks for joining us. We will be back here next week talking about more fun things and maybe a little less herky-jerky for David because he may not have loved that. So,
Nope.
all right.
I need to wash out my mouth.
Yeah.
I need to eat more chips.
Oh.